Episode number 6, named it after one of my favorite TV shows when I'm sick at home. Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty of what is part of an offer to buy a house. Because when you look at all this paperwork, there's a lot of legalese, and in that, there are a few really key items I want you to be aware of. So number 1, super obvious, is purchase price. Like, how much are you as the buyer offering the seller to buy their home? Number 2 is closing date. When are we looking to close? When do we want to see the property go from them to us? Number 3, the due diligence period. Now, this is very specific and it's important. This is the amount of time and calendar days that you have to not only have the home inspected, but also negotiate anything that's found as a result of that home inspection. What's also important is during this window of time, you can leave the transaction for any reason and you've lost nothing other than potentially the money you spent to have the home inspected. Number 4, earnest money. Earnest money, in short, it's your way of telling the seller, I'm not wasting your time. I'm serious. We really do love the house. And so we're putting our money where our mouth is. Now, that earnest money, however much it is, it's going to be applied towards your final costs at closing. So, for example, if your earnest money is $2,000 or even $5,000, if you are going to put down 20%, that money, that earnest money, is going to be incorporated and playing into that total cost that you are going to bring to the table at closing. Next, we have date of possession. Now, that may sound a little off the wall. You may think, of course, the day of closing is when I get the keys, but at times the sellers, they need additional time in the home to get out of the house. And so we'll negotiate, when do the buyers actually get to access the property that they have purchased on day of closing. Next, we have details of your financials. As the buyer, the seller needs to know, who is your financing with? What type of financing do you have? How much are you putting down? Like, all of these details are important to the seller, and they're going to be a factor in how they negotiate with you as the buyer. And then finally, we have any special stipulations. Like, maybe as you looked through what the seller is incorporating into the sale, you notice they're wanting to take the refrigerator and it's part of a matching set, and you as the buyer really want that refrigerator. Well, down in our offer, we will note to the seller a special stipulation asking for that fridge to be incorporated in the sale of the home. So all of this is all negotiable, right? Like, this is all actually our first pass, our first offer to the seller as to what we expect, what we want, and what our offer is. And often they will look at it, they'll evaluate, and then they'll come back to us with a counter offer. And this may go back and forth a number of times as we're finding that middle ground. But in all offers, all of those items are part of the process, and they're all equally important.